What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Party Chat. I'm Jared with 59 Direct, and this time, my co-host today is the one and the only. You may know him from 59 Mobile, the Legends Weekend guy. That's what I call him anyways, is Ironcane. Ironcane, what's going on, my dude?
What's going on, Jared? How you doing, pal? Dude.
Oh, you dropping first.
I mean, bro,
okay.
We've been through some stuff.
I think I introed myself with Jared. That was stupid. You know, I should have said James. James, that's what I should have done. There you go.
J&J, bro. J&J. We got that connection.
There it is. Bro, so tell me, what have you been gaming lately? That's like, I ask every co-host that. Every time I bring somebody on, I'm always like, hey, tell me, what have you been gaming lately?
Recently, I actually just started the first Trails game.
Oh, I've seen Cam
Yeah,
talk
he
about
actually,
that.
he taught me.
Mutual friend,
Yeah.
for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah, he talked
Go
me
ahead.
into it. I played like the first 2 hours of the game. The music is incredible. It's made by the same people that make the East series, like Lacrimosa, Donna, and this other game. I forget. Falcom. That developer. Yeah, they're fantastic. So like the music in that game is like really good. It's a really fun RPG. I think it came out in like 2004. I feel like it still holds up pretty well, but I'd recommend it. It's I forget what it's called. It's Trails. Yeah, Trails in the Sky. Yeah, really good series. Definitely.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard of them. I never played them, but again, I see Cam talked about it all the time. He's like putting it up on a timeline. I'm like, these games must be good because if Cam's recommending, it's probably pretty decent. That's dope. Good for you. Me, what have I been doing, man? I don't know what it is. I mentioned this, I think, in the last podcast. For anybody who hasn't watched, go check it out. But I mentioned the podcast. I've been on a platinum trophy grind, and I don't know what it is. I'm not. Look, let me tell you something, James. I'm not that person. All right, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy, bro. I promise. I'm not. I never do platinum trophy stuff. But for some reason, with PlayStation 5, I can't resist. Like, something about that flashy platinum just, comes out and you're like, damn, that feels good. And like, something about, what else too is like my trophy profile is like a bronze, and I hate that. I hate it so much.
What's your level at?
Yeah, man. I'm not proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of it. It's at like 2 something. I think we compared. It's at like 2 something. Yours is up there, right? You're hitting silver tier, right? I think.
I could check right now, actually. I'll get back to you.
Well, let us know as we go through. Yeah, let me know. But I think you're up there. But that's what I'm doing. So I pretty much got the platinum in Astrobot. I really wanted to.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Get that game's platinum one done. Or is it? I always call it Astrobot. I think it's no, I didn't get it as Astrobot. The one I came out with the PS5. But I got that platinum done. It was one that I wanted to get done. I did it. And now I'm just getting ready for next week, dude. With the PlayStation Plus rebranding of PS Plus mixed with PS Now. So I'm getting hyped for next week because I should be rolling into that premium. Are you doing it? Are you getting into the
100%.
premium extra?
Yeah, I was one of those guys that went in on the PS Now thing. I stacked it twice just in case. They pulled a fast one.
There you go.
But yeah, I stacked it twice, so I'll have it discounted for like 2 years or something like that. Also, my trophy level is 407.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into the very first news and get into it because we have a couple news stories. But this episode, for the most part, everybody, is very much the Summer Game Fest minicap. That's the bulk of what it is, but a couple extra things to remind you guys about. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about Summer Game Fest. That is the main story again. But we're going to add, before we get into it, we're going to actually add in our experience because me and James actually went to the in-person event over in New Jersey for the iMax experience. And so I know I was excited and he was excited when we first heard about it. And then we both hit each other up and we were like, oh, you going to go? And I was like, oh, of course I want to go. And we both went. But so James, I'll let you give your thoughts, how you thought about the event. And then I'm sure we'll tag in. We'll somehow cross over with experiences at some point. So I'll let you start. Give me everything. What are your everything for the whole IMAX stuff?
So a little relevant to the show. I was a dummy and I accidentally put in the directions to the mall and not the theater itself. So I parked on the complete other side. So I was like hauling my butt to the theater and I made it like literally on time. Like Jeff was like introducing Street Fighter and I like walk in. I just parked my butt right next to Jared.
It started and I was like, yo, damn, where's James' ass? Like, he's running late. This just started.
Oh, yeah. But no, dude, it was a really great experience. And I didn't really think it was like mid at the time, just because like being in a theater and watching these trailers on a big screen really amplified the entire experience. And I really hope like Game Fest continues to do things like this, or like maybe E3 or just like other Nintendo Directs, Sony with their state of plays, or like maybe not state of plays, but just like the big events, right? Where like people can watch this in IMAX, because I thought it was really cool. And for me, I thought it was fantastic. And then I saw a lot of people's reaction to the Games Fest being like kind of mid, which I can see in retrospect, but at the time in the theater, it was like, bro, it was so sick, like seeing everything on the big screen.
Yeah, the big thing for me to add on to that is that with the IMAX experience, it's like obviously a huge screen, but like for me, the sound, right?
Yes,
it's different.
bro.
Like me putting on headphones and listening to it. Like of course I went back and I rewatched it, through my computer, and I was like, yo, this is cool. But like, I will say, dude, we were sitting obviously in the nice like movie theater IMAX chairs, right? Big screen, but like just the sound. Like when it got to the Callisto Protocol, dude, I was thinking about it and I was like, man, like right now this sounds okay, but like in the IMAX, like it made the biggest difference, dude. Just hearing all the different things that are happening between like, the guy getting sucked up in whatever the hell that blender machine thing, the monsters like crushing him, stuff like that. Like it made so much of a difference to, I think, the experience where I was like, damn, like this sucked. Like watching it back on like the computer and everything, like in comparison to like watching it in the theater, in the IMAX especially, dude, what a difference for me. Like, oh man, I could tell right away. But yeah, I guess we could both chime in on the little event that happened with our situation that we were in our theater for when we watched it. Surprisingly, I will add on that another friend of mine in California who watched it had something similar. So James, I don't know if it's just like maybe it wasn't just our theater thing, but someone had a similar situation too. I don't know what the hell it was, but I guess I'll just say it. So pretty much, I don't know exactly what happened, but we think, if I'm not mistaken, we think it was the projector that just like, I don't know if it like, I guess it broke because it made a big pop noise. Like I told James, I was like, I thought it was gunshots at first. I freaked out. I was like, I didn't freak out, but I was like panicking. I was like, what is going on? Because then it kept flickering, and then like the screen was flickering, right? But we also saw the game, and then we kept thinking, is it the game? Because we couldn't, because it's also the IMAX. So like the big noise was like, oh, maybe it was part of the game, because damn, that sounded super real. But no, it turned out that I think it was I think the projector. The people eventually did come out, because then the screen just kept flickering through everything, and then we were like, oh crap, this can't be good. But go ahead, give your thoughts on it, because I just thought like, what the hell, like that was just the craziest thing to ever happen.
I think the funniest part about it is like you tapped me and you're like, bro, like you told me that you thought it was a gunshot. Like, bro, I thought the last thing I was gonna see in my life was the Game Pass for a moment there. I was like, bro, no, but it was really loud. Oh my god. And then like there's moments where if they would come in, or like, oh, and like everybody in the theater would be like, yeah, they would clap it, and they'd be like, oh, it would like come and go and come and go. And then unfortunately, even when they got it fixed, like I don't know if you can speak to the quality of it, but like I felt like it looked a little like not glittery, but like there's like black and white dots.
Yeah, it had those things. Yeah, I noticed it for sure. I think it's like for the IMAX. Yeah, I don't know, like a special.
Yeah, well, the quality wasn't the same, unfortunately, after it fixed. So we missed a good portion of the show. Like One Piece came on, we missed that. I don't know if it was when Turtles came on, but I think we missed that as well. We missed a good portion of the show.
It was like it was a good, like, I think, what, an hour, 20 minutes in at that point, or 10 minutes in? It was like after the hour mark, I think, and it happened, and it was literally down for like, I think, like, I don't know, was this 20 minutes too much? Was it like about 20 minutes, I think? Because we got just enough time for like the last maybe like 20 minutes, I think, or 30 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was at least 20 minutes, but it was around that time for sure. You know, it sucked. People were disappointed. I don't think we got any refunds or anything. That would have been pretty cool, because we would have got to see it for free. But we did get some goodies, which was pretty dope. And
yeah, you want to pop it out, show to get people we got, since we're one of the lucky few to get it. Pop it out to see.
Games Fest. You sure you're really
right here. This is what we got. Show them what's inside. I haven't even fully gone inside and looked at everything that we actually got.
Yeah, I remember it was like 2 or 3 Cuphead things. It was a Street Fighter thing, and that might have been it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it to the camera. I know it's a little blurry. I apologize. It looks like it's the Salt Shaker from the game.
Yeah, he's one of the characters.
And then it was the new, and then the new character.
Miss
Chalice.
I forgot her name.
Miss Chalice. There you go. Yeah, and it's her as well.
Yeah, I'm glad it was Cuphead, because like I mean, Cuphead's like design is like perfect. So just getting some cool Cuphead merch was really dope.
I'd show you guys the back, but the back actually has codes.
You didn't show the codes, did you?
We got some We did get some DLC codes pretty much, I think, right? For Street Fighter 6, yeah. Some soundtrack stuff, and a game from a Street Fighter game as well. It's dope. It's dope. It's cool. Cool stuff. I appreciate that. I didn't think we were gonna get anything. Honestly,
I was hoping,
it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I wasn't holding my breath.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean that's our experience in a nutshell. You've heard it from us, folks. We're so excited. Does that mean we're not gonna go to another one if it happens again? No, we're probably gonna go again next year I'm gonna go at least next year. I don't know about James, but I'll definitely go next year for another one. All right, we can go ahead and jump into this. Let's talk about Summer Game Fest. Let's go through this. Now we're not gonna hit every single game because there was like over 30 games announced. Jeff did a good job of getting so many games, but we're gonna go through at least and talk about some of the bigger ones that we probably have more interest in, or we cared about a lot. But we'll try to mention at least most as we can. We'll start with the first one, James. Street Fighter 6 was there, and it was actually the big opener. Nothing new in terms of release, same thing, 2023, but they did show a new character, and it was Guile. So tell me, I guess, let me hit you up with this. You played Street Fighter games before, right?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so you know who Guile is, right?
I mean, he was like a new man, bro. He was Jack, like he was huge.
That was a big boy. That was a big boy. That was my first reaction. I was like, that's a big dude. Like, I don't remember Guile being that jacked. To be fair, I didn't really play too much of the last Street Fighter, Street Fighter 5. I think I played a little bit of 4. Was probably the last one I think I ever played. But I don't remember him being that big. I was like, yo, that's a big dude.
The Rock probably probably blushed looking at Guile, dude.
Oh God. Let's not even talk about that. That was the funniest part about the whole show. But no, yeah, they showed Guile. They showed off some new they showed up a gameplay for him. So it was like, some of his movesets, and then they even showed a sneak peek of it. I think he's like his ultimate attack, whatever that's even called in the game. But overall, looked cool. In terms of for me, I'll probably try him out. I don't know if I'm actually gonna, main him or anything. I think I'm gonna get this game, James. Do you think you're gonna get this game?
Man, because there's this one part of the trailer that looked really interesting, where like it was like some free roam type mode where you could like walk around.
Yeah, they did show that in the last one, in the Capcom.
That was really sick. So I just, I think Guile's cool. Like the Sonic Boom stuff, it's classic. But just for that alone, from my understanding, that's never been done in Street Fighter before. And I definitely suck at Street Fighter. It's definitely the fighting game I suck the most at. But I mean, it's a classic. So I didn't get to try. Actually, I did buy 5, but I sucked at it, and it didn't have that much content at the time. Like that game was, I don't know, not episodic, but it was episodic in the sense where they like added stuff onto the game later, like story and stuff like that. So to me, I kind of feel like 5 was like a filler game, and 6 seems like the true sequel, the next game up from 4. Because 4, I feel like, was everybody's favorite for a long time, or it was like really well regarded. So hopefully 6 can fill the void that like 5 left, I feel like.
Yeah, and I agree for the most part for what you said, and I will add on to the fact that I do agree too with like the fact that I kind of fall off. I've fallen off a bit of the series too. So I think just like you, them showing off whatever that world tour mode is, or whatever story created character mode that they showed off, like that's the type of stuff that like hooks me in. Where I'm like, okay, it's not just gonna be the arcade, 1v1 or whatever. It's gonna be something different. So I'm excited for it. Plus, I think just the overall aesthetic, what they're doing with the neon colors, with the moves, and just the way like it looks visually, it's freaking pleasing to the eyes for me at least. So it definitely just caught me alone with the gameplay for this one. So I'm definitely gonna give it a shot as well. Plus, shout out to them for not keeping this on PlayStation only. Thank God they're putting it for like almost every platform out there, because I think that was the big complaint last time, was that like this should be a game where everybody can play, because it's a fighting game, right? You're gonna want to play with the more people and have more people have access to the game. So makes sense. I'm down for that. That sounds for me. Cool. We can go ahead and jump into the next one. I think this one we were both like, oh, this looks really good, and that is the Callisto Protocol. We got a brand new gameplay trailer, and then with the same thing, release date is still for December 2nd, 2022. I'm praying that's gonna stay, because this has become a game where I definitely want to play now, because the more I see it, the more I'm just like, oh, hell yeah, dude. There's something about this where I'm like, it's like, I've never been that big of a Dead Space person. And quick little fact here, but the guy behind Dead Space, the creator of Dead Space, Schofield, I think it's his last name. I keep forgetting his first name, but he basically, this is his studio, his new studio's, first big AAA game. And so you can tell where it looks a lot like Dead Space. We talked about this a lot. But it looks really good, aside for it being, super similar to Dead Space, but it looks so good. But there's something about this where I'm like, this is like I think probably it looks like for me personally like one of the scariest games I'm probably ever gonna play, because just the way that they do everything, the shots, like the cinematic shots, you know, like there's so many moments where you're just like, oh, like this is creepy. Like the freaking, I don't know, they're not even zombies, bro. I don't know what the hell they are. They're like mutated alien people. I'm not even gonna call them zombies because this takes place in space, so this is completely different. But no, this looks exciting. I'm excited. The gameplay was dope that we saw. Give me your thoughts about it, because I know you're also hyped.
Yeah, man. No, I'm a pretty big Dead Space guy. I played all 3 of the games. This one is really reminiscent of the first game, because the first 2, I think most people feel that the second one was the best in terms of tone and like just being a complete game, and then 3 was kind of the one that made it too actiony, kind of like the same thing that they did with Resident Evil 6. So I feel like the fact that that team and that director is able to go back to his roots and their roots with the first game and make it like a true horror experience, like it's scary, and it is brutal, and it is gory, and it's everything that you love about the best parts of Dead Space. So I'm really excited for this game. It's interesting because we're getting this, and then the Dead Space remake is in the works as well. So it's really dope. I mean, this whole show had a lot of space games, ironically, but
yeah, we're gonna get into them for sure. Yeah, there's definitely
yeah,
a
but
lot.
one thing I was tapping Jared about, which was cool, is that like in Dead Space they have this health bar system, like it's like the spine, but in Callisto Project, or is it Project or what is it? Am I wrong? Protocol, yeah. Callisto Protocol, they have it on the neck where it's kind of like a collar type deal. So it's still cool that they have like a little homage to that. Well, you know, not outright copying it, but yeah, it looks phenomenal. It has very similar things, like there's like the cutter thing from Dead Space, there's like the stasis thing. So obviously it's not hiding it, but it's awesome. I'm really glad we're getting Dead Space again, because that whole space horror genre has been dormant for years. So I'm just glad that we're getting a lot of that. We're getting a lot of that as we've seen in this entire show. So it's very exciting.
It's definitely interesting because this is supposed to come out December 2nd, and so the Dead Space remake, which is being done by, I think it's EA and their team, that comes out January.
Really?
So it's like a month apart from like the OG creator, you know, dropping their game, and then like them bringing back the remake of Dead Space. So I think that's actually, when you think about it, it's actually pretty funny. It's like, okay, let's see how this goes. Like, you know, which game is gonna be better? But I haven't seen too much of the Dead Space remake. I know they've been showing little bits and pieces of it, but I will say, well, we've seen a Callisto Protocol. This game looks absolutely insane. So I'm super excited about it. All right, we can go on and move to the next game. This one, I don't think we have too much about it, but they also announced Stormgate. It's going to be a free-to-play game with a 2023 beta release. So if you're interested, go check that one out. This one, I don't know, James, if you have much to add to it, but I know this one was another one that we were just like, oh, okay. We weren't sure at first what it was going to be, and so we finally saw the obvious. Aliens Dark Descent, with the release date of 2023. It's a squad-based top-down shooter, which that was the surprise to me. When we saw this, I was telling you, I think I was mentioning to you, I was like, oh, this is going to be like that Fireteam Elite, I think, that they made just recently with Aliens. And I was like, it's like another squad-based kind of shooter game that they just did, which I keep praying, dude. I don't know if you ever played Alien Isolation, but that game was so good. And I kept like praying that they'll do another just straight-up horror take on Alien. I would have preferred that, but we kind of got another like sequel to somewhat of the last one, but this time it's a top-down shooter. So I'm just curious. I guess I asked you this. I'm just curious. Do you think is it gonna take away? I guess it shouldn't be. It might not. Maybe they wanted to make it a horror. You know, for me, when it's Aliens, I just think it's gonna be. It should be some type of horror element to it. But when it's top-down, do you think it still gives you the this is still exciting because it's Aliens or whatever? But
I mean, unfortunately, I'm not really that into that genre or like the top-down style. So like when they show that at the very end, bro, like the trailer looks so dope. Like the logo looks so dope. Everything else, I'm like, dude, I am in for this. And then they showed it the last couple of seconds, like a brief glimpse of gameplay, and I'm like, it's top-down, bro. I felt like a bait and switch almost. I mean, I don't know, but it looked. I mean, based off the trailer, if the trailer is even remotely as impressive, or if the game is as remotely as impressive as the trailer, like it'll be great. But personally, I'm not a big fan of the top-down perspective. I would have much preferred a horror-style game like you as well.
Yeah, even if it was just keeping it from the other game, I wish I could remember the specific name, but it was like Squad Elite or Fireteam Elite or something like that. That it was still kind of closer to Alien Isolation, but it was more of like a shooter. But this top down part for me too. I will say, yeah, it definitely took it. I was excited, then I was like, top down. Like, I'm not too big on those myself, but we'll see.
I'm just curious how they would make that scary, because it seemed like, at least from the trailer, right? Like we can only base off the.
It's probably not.
It's probably not, but I don't know. From the trailer, it looked like that's what they were going for. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I just think Alien, and I just think like, oh, they're going with that IP. I'm like, okay, so probably be scary, but like, I don't know, top down. I guess we'll see. It'll be interesting. Fair enough. We're gonna get into the next game that I wish I could skip over, because when this played off, we were just like, bro, they were showing. I think I was telling you, I was like, this is the whole level. I think they're just gonna show the entire level, because that's what it felt like. Because it was a good 20-minute chunk of time, and that was we don't have to spend time on this one, but it was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I said I'm just calling it the remake, because they didn't really officially call it that. It's kind of like a reimagining. That's the popular term now. It's like, it's not a remake, it's just a reimagining. So they're taking a page out of Capcom's book, and they're just calling it Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. But we got the release date for October 28th, 2022. So it is dropping this year for anybody who's excited about that. So that came out. They also announced with it Warzone 2, if I'm not mistaken. I think they said that it's going to be a part of this world. No release date, I think they said, or at least they're going to give more information about it. So we probably will see more closer to the October release date. I don't really have much to say besides the fact that like it looks good. Like that's what I kept saying when we were watching. I was like, it looks really good. Like the Call of Duty games always look good, but I don't know. I tend to still just fall off of like Call of Duty. That's just me personally. I don't know. Are you excited for it?
From what I understand, this is supposed to directly fall on Modern Warfare 1, the one that's also like a reimagining, remake, or you want to call it, but it's still going to be surrounding the characters from the original campaigns. And from what I understand, what they showed off at Games Fest, that area that they were in, I could have sworn that was a level in the original Modern Warfare 2, where like in Modern Warfare 1, the remake one, I don't know if any of the levels were similar, but that level in particular looked really similar. But I remember tapping, I'm like, bro, like, are they gonna wrap this up? Like it looked great when it's just like, all right, bro, like I get it, dude. It's just like, how much are they gonna show? Yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, these characters are really beloved. I'll probably, if I do get it, I'm gonna play for the campaign. I've kind of been sour on the multiplayer for Call of Duty since like BO3. I was really into BO2 and prior. So yeah, for me, I'm not really too interested on that aspect. But the campaign, it looked great. I probably really enjoy it. I hope that they raise the quality of their campaigns, because recently I feel like COD campaigns have not been there personally, but hopefully this is a step in the right direction.
I don't even know the last time I even played a Call of Duty game, if I'm being honest with you. I skipped Vanguard. What was the more recent one? Was it Modern Warfare 3? No. Is it Black Ops like 5?
I don't know.
I don't know. Don't even ask me. That's how much I don't know, and I've 100% fallen off the series. Modern Warfare 2 was the one that like I was addicted to as like back in my early days.
That's what I hear,
like
man.
360 days, I think, with the boys, man. after school, hop on Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. Those are the times. But like, I think I've just fallen off, and even my friends have fallen off. Nobody even plays Call of Duty anymore. But again, for those of you excited for that, that's pretty cool. And then again, Warzone 2, I think they had announced. We'll get more information closer probably to the release date. So keep an eye out for that if you're excited for that. This next game, this was another exciting one. I was pretty excited, but I think we were both excited for it, especially when we saw the people who were going to be doing the voice acting and everything. Fort Solis. This is the game that is basically like a space action game that had Troy Baker and Roger Clark that were going to be, I think, the main characters within it, as well as another actor as well. I forgot the name. I apologize. It was something Brown. Was it Julia Brown, I think?
Not sure, bro.
I don't know, but if anybody remembers, put that person in there, because they're obviously a part of it too, and it's pretty big. No release date, but we just got a snippet of a trailer, and it looked really good. It looked exciting. Like it was gonna have a really good like story to it. There was, again, like not much else was shown, like besides those snips here and there. They did say that this was being done by like an independent studio. Like this is like, I think, a brand new studio, and this is like a pretty big project for them, and they got some pretty big talent associated with it, right? Roger Clark and Troy Baker. Those are two big names in the game industry. So I know we both saw this and we were like, yo, sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Like it looked really good. The story piece of it looked really good. I don't know about you. That was my biggest takeaway. I was like, oh, this looks good. I mean, at this point we had gotten Aliens and Callisto Protocol. We were like, man, the space theme is pretty strong with this, and we were like, okay, it's another one. But this one, at least we walked away and we were like, okay, this looks
Yeah, bro, it's the Summer Space Fest. But yeah, if you guys don't know, Troy Baker, he's literally in every game like ever. Like you definitely heard his voice before. And Roger, he was actually the voice of Arthur Morgan in Red Dead Redemption 2, so that's like where he really popped off. So from my understanding, from where they were speaking, Roger is going to be the protagonist that you're playing, and Troy is going to be the antagonist. So that's going to be interesting. And they really made sure that players understood that this is going to be like a free roam game. It's going to be a tight experience where like it's going to be linear, which is fine, because like I feel like at this point I'm kind of like getting a little open world fatigue. Like besides like games like Elden Ring where they really nailed it, I just like developers that kind of follow the Ubisoft formula where it's like you go to a waypoint and unlocks all this stuff. Like I'm so sick of that. So like I am all for tight, nice linear experiences. So I'm open for it. And again, like I feel like the space horror genre isn't something that's been explored a lot. I know it's been explored a lot in the Games Fest, but like recently there has been a lot of releases. So I'm down. I'm totally down.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I'm excited. Aside from us, making the jokes that like, oh, it's so much space, but like when I think about it, I agree. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Though I feel like I personally haven't had enough of it, so I'm down for it. That's gonna be a good one. Jumping on ahead, there was Outriders WORLDSLAYER DLC that got announced. Another indie game, Witchfire, that's having an early access launch in 2023. And then this was the other space game that we were like, okay, this is officially like a very space-themed game whatever's for the show. And the game was called Routine. We basically dubbed it the Space Five Nights at Freddy's game. That's pretty much
that game.
But real quick, James, you brought up a really good point. And at the end of it, it just said Xbox and PC. No release date, but it said Xbox and PC, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good point." I was like, "That's interesting. This could be, a pretty big Xbox, platform exclusive game. Maybe it's, time exclusive. Who knows?" I always joke, and I'm like, "Man, where are all these time exclusive games for Xbox for their partnership deals?" But this might be one of them. It looks pretty good. It's another horror space game, but like for me personally, I was getting freaked out by the little bits that they showed. I was like, "Oh," especially because we were in IMAX too.
Bro,
so like,
are you kidding me?
The horror in that is like just times 10 because it's like, it's way different. But I mean, most likely I'm gonna check it out. And if this is gonna be on Xbox and PC, I might take a guess here. That's probably gonna be on Game Pass. And so this is gonna be, I think, definitely a good Game Pass game for sure. So I guess your thoughts real quick, unless you
dude, that game, I think of everything that was shown horror-wise, I think this was the scariest game that was shown. Like the enemies that are gonna be chasing you around, like Jared said, like the reason why it's like Five Nights at Freddy's like is because it's robots, like sentries. They look like they were like helper bots at one point, but they all like got corrupted and now they're like out to kill you, and it's like very scary, man. Like that one actually like made me jump. And I feel like that game, if you're really into like games like Amnesia, Five Nights, and like all those horror games that are like really tense, I feel like you're going to love, or Outlast, like you're really gonna love this game. But yeah, that was definitely the scariest game of the show, like for sure. And I was a little like tight. I'm like, damn, bro, no PS5. I'll probably end up getting it on Steam anyway. But that game looks really great. Can't wait for it.
And then this next game, this is Goat Simulator 3. But real quickly, when they announced this, or when Jeff announced this, I was telling James, I was like, he said something about like Bite. Like I think it's a shark game. I swear, there's like a popular shark game. I keep forgetting what it's called. It's gonna bother me. I keep forgetting what it's called. But it was like a popular shark game I remember that like people were just like hyped about. And I was like, it was at the beach, and I was like, oh, this is probably gonna be like, again, a shark game. But essentially, it was Goat Simulator 3. But James, I did look it up online because I had to know what the hell was everybody getting hyped for. And apparently it was a parody. The way that they showed it, it was a parody off of apparently the Dead Island 2 trailer back in the day. So God. I think they did a little parody there, and it was almost the same concept, except they had goats, whereas the Dead Island 2 trailer had zombies. And so that was what everybody, because in the theater, everybody was going crazy. And
yeah, we're like, what? We're like, huh?
I was everybody getting excited for it. I was like, man, Goat Simulator must be really popping. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, it was Goat Simulator 3. I don't know if you want to add anything, but yeah, we were pretty much just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I looked up that game you were thinking about. Maneater. Maneater was the game.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Thank you. I was like, oh, I think it's Maneater like 3 or something because we just got like 2, I think, on PS Plus.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty much it.
What I found funny is like I was looking on Twitter, people were like, "Bro, Goat Simulator 3, what the hell happened to Goat Simulator 2?" And apparently it was a Stadia exclusive, so that's why like most people never even remembered it or heard of it. So for most people, this is probably going to be the next Goat Simulator that they ever played. I personally never played it, but it looked like really wacky, and the content creators are absolutely going to love this game. Just the stuff that you can interact with, it's really funny.
Fair enough. Marvel's Midnight Suns was the next game. We got the, what I think is the official release date. I don't remember seeing it before, but just in case, October 7th, 2022. They gave us a dope little trailer that I think showed a little bit of gameplay, but it was like a lot of cinematic stuff too. But they debuted Venom and Spider-Man. That was a pretty cool thing. At this game, I'm excited for. I feel like it's a game that I'm not sure if I'm buying it day one though, but I remember when I first saw it, I was like, "Ooh, like how is this gonna play?" And then I saw it was like I think it's like a strategy card-based game, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, and I think it was the devs behind like XCOM, so that kind of I guess makes some sense. I've never played those games, so like those games that they're known for, I always forget it's XCOM, right? Obviously, I never really played them, so I'm definitely gonna give it a shot. If you could put the Marvel IP with it, that's because I'm a sucker for it. I'm gonna hop into it. So I'm gonna play it. Are you definitely looking into it?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna definitely give it a try. My brother's really into Marvel, so I'm either gonna play through him or play for myself. Also, I want to tell people to follow that game's official Twitter page, because they had some campaign where you could get this Spider-Man skin if you like the retweet a post. I think it might be over by now, but I would just follow the page anyway, just in case they continue doing campaigns like that, which is cool that they're doing. And I think also in the trailer, unless it was revealed like earlier on, I think Scarlet Witch is also going to be one of the antagonists as well.
Yeah, you're right. They did show that. And the other one was Hulk.
Yeah,
right? That was the other big one, I think, too.
Yeah,
it was Hulk.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Let me see. We're going to move on ahead and go over just a quick couple here. There was Cuphead. They got the DLC, The Delicious Last Course. That's coming out in June. There was Neon White. That was the other gameplay trailer that was shown for it. It's got a release date for June 16th. And then this is the part where we started to miss the games, because this is when Projector went down, and then they started showing the Hoyoverse games, and I was like mad because I was like, dude, one of those games I really want to play. And of course they showed it off, and I had to wait till like we got back home to kind of like look at it. But it was Honkai Star Rail, no release date, but it did show off like another brand new trailer of showing off some of the characters. And then the other game was Zenless Zone Zero. Again, no release date, at least I'm aware of, no release date. Again, just with a new trailer with a new character. I guess real quickly, I think you've dabbled in Genshin.
Yeah.
James, have you, or a little bit? Yeah. So I mean, do any of these games speak to you at all, or are you excited for any of them? I know Zenless Zone Zero, that game looks dope, and I'm just like a fan of like the characters and whatever they're doing with like the cyberpunk futuristic vibe with it is dope. I dig it. Just curious if you have any interest in any.
Zenless, I don't really. I mean, the screen was down. I didn't really check it out afterwards. But
I know. To be fair, you probably never even looked at it because it was down.
Honkai, or is it Honkai Star Rail? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Honkai.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was just making sure. I heard it's going to be turn-based, so that'll be interesting because Genshin obviously is not turn-based. So I'll probably try it out. I'm not going to like go all in and wail out on the game, but I'll probably take a peek. I mean, MiHoYo they make high quality games, and the voice acting I thought was really, really good from what we were able to hear in the trailer. So I'm curious. I might check it out.
There you go. Next game was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. It also got its reveal date of June 16th, and then James called it. The playable character, Casey Jones, did officially get shown off and revealed as well. I think you're more excited for this than me. Yeah. So I guess I'll leave this one to you. This is a game that I don't know if I'm probably going to play it, but I know you're probably excited because this was something that you definitely called it earlier if you want to get a little bit into it.
Me and Jared actually, we're very lucky and fortunate to have played this game at PAX East, and we got to speak to some of the guys that worked on the game. And I had to carry Jared, unfortunately, but that's probably why he's not too interested. No, I'm just messing. But it's funny because we actually asked them. We asked them there if they had any plans to add additional characters, and he was saying like, yeah, everybody's asking us to add Casey Jones, and we'd like to, but we just need the support. And it seems like if people really, really support this game, that'll push Nickelodeon. 'Cause that was the whole thing. It's just like the licensing and working with Nickelodeon. It seems like they're really, really passionate. It's the same thing to work on Scott Pilgrim versus the World of Game, which that game is phenomenal. So I'm really excited that same team is working on this game. The game looks great. The soundtrack is really great. We didn't really get to hear that at PAX just because, you know, we were at a booth, so we didn't really get to hear much. But we got to play it, and it felt great. The combo moves were really fun. It's really dope. They got a lot of playable characters. You got the Turtles, you got Splinter, you got April, and newest character we got is Casey. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited just because I feel like there's potential for future games just because the excitement is here for this game. And they recently released the collection for Turtles, so it's really cool that Turtles are getting a lot of games recently. So it's really dope.
Definitely. I have nothing to add, so we're gonna go to the next one. The next one, we're gonna actually speed through a couple of these here, but we also got the One Piece Odyssey brand new trailer for it. I believe it showed off some of the gameplay as well. I didn't pick up if there was a release date, so if we missed it, you could always let us know in the comment section, but they did show that off. Soul Hackers 2 also got a brand new trailer. This game, Nightingale, is a game that I've been kind of looking out for, and we did get a new trailer, no release date, but just a little fun fact, this game that they showed off, Nightingale, former Mass Effect devs are actually working on that game, so if you've seen it before or you want to look into it, check it out. It's called Nightingale, but they did show a new trailer for it too. It looks really cool. I'm excited for that. Saints Row, it got a create a character like pre-launch game release thing, so like if you want to, that's available right now. It released again on the day of the event, which is June 9th. But essentially you can make your character ahead of time for Saints Row. I didn't do it. I'm not sure if I'm even going to get into Saints Row, to be honest. I don't know, James, do you get into Saints Row? Is that your cup of tea?
I got into the series starting with Saints Row 3, and I hear people, their favorite games are normally either 2 or 3. Like 2 was a lot more serious, and they started getting more silly with it with 3 onward. And this game kind of seems like they're blending the silly with the serious. Or maybe they're just going all silly, I don't know. But they took the superpowers out of it. It's a lot more grounded. And I think it's a really good marketing strategy on their point because everybody, all these streamers like want to make their like wacky customizable characters and everybody has eyes on the game. But it just comes down to whether or not they're actually going to go ahead and, you know, bite the bullet and purchase the game in the future. But, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. Because, I mean, a lot of people are hungry for GTA 6. So maybe this, you know, Saints Row game will hold them over on in the meantime. But I feel like it looks interesting. Saints Row has always kind of been like the little brother to GTA, but it's all but it's definitely I feel like the more fun and wacky and not as grounded. But this game, they look like they're trying to do a blend of wacky and grounded. So we'll see how it looks.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was my biggest take is that like they're gonna keep it like when I saw that they were gonna do like Saints Row and it was just called Saints Row, I was like, oh, this seems like they're gonna try to bring back the series, you know. And the last that I remember is you're doing all types of stuff in the last game or whatever that I remember. You were like flying superpowers. I was confused if it was like, you know, DC like the DC Universe game or what the hell I was looking at because it was all types of craziness. But I think like what you were kind of saying was it's pretty cool for them to make sure people can identify Saints Row versus GTA because in the past, Saints Row, GTA, I always went GTA. GTA was more for me, but I like for them to keep it with like the craziness because I think that is what separates Saints Row from GTA. And so I'm kind of glad to see them kind of keep that whole part of it to it. So again, you were right. Like you're seeing streamers getting into it and getting excited for it. So I'm not, you know, gonna be surprised when this game pops off because I do think, you know, people are excited and they are hungry for something like that. So it's cool. Let's see. It's cool to see Saints Row come back. We can go ahead and we can jump ahead and get to Layers of Fear. I'm calling it the remake. They didn't really say it, and so it's either a remake or they're just Layers of Fear. Maybe they're also rebooting it. Everybody is doing like a reboot nowadays. So that's probably what they're doing. But this was the team, Blooper Team to be specific, that showed us off. And I was a little upset because the Blooper Team is also the development studio that is supposedly working on Silent Hill 2 Remake. That was the biggest rumor ever. And so I thought when Blooper Team was here, that's what we were possibly going to get to see. Turns out, nah, it's just one of their more famous games, the Layers of Fear games, that I think is getting a remake or a reboot, or it's just an extension of like the first game too. Like, it was not very specific, but it was on that pretty much space there. But 2023 release, so if you're excited for that, there you go. Gotham Knights, the game that people don't know if they hate it or love it. I think I fall in between for this one, but we did get a new trailer that showed Dick Grayson and just showing more Nightwing stuff. Let me jump ahead. Warhammer 40k, DARKTIDE got a brand new trailer for people who are excited. And we can get to the big stuff. This is a little bit more of the hyper stuff, so I wanted to get here real quick. The Last of Us. Basically, Naughty Dog was there. Neil Druckmann, the guy himself, he was there. He brought in some friends, and they showed off, which was Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker. Those were his friends. They showed off some of the HBO show, a little image there, which is pretty exciting. Also pretty cool to see that Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker got roles in the actual TV show, which is super exciting. I was like, that's like one of the coolest things is like, you know, when they do like movies or TV shows that are, you know, video game adaptations, and like, you know, some people have a hard time like wanting to see other actors fulfill those roles when you're just so tied to those voice actors, right? And not even sometimes just the voice acting, they straight up are those characters, right? We see the mocap, we see when they have all that stuff on and they're pretty much just doing everything. So Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker, like they're what honestly really sold and really made The Last of Us as big as it is. You know, aside from the story, right? Aside from everything else that was put into it, they're big pieces to it. So just to see them get roles that aren't like what Neil Druckmann said, like not just small little eye wink, you know, roles. They were legit. Pretty big roles. So we're excited about that. I'll bring you in, James, in a second. Let me just get to the first part of it. And that is The Last of Us multiplayer got its confirmation. I'm so freaking ecstatic. No gameplay, no actual trailer, totally fine. I'm chilling with the confirmation. That's what I wanted to see. But they did bless us. Neil, the man himself, did bless us and gave us a cool concept image, which we'll probably have here in the video. But it was a beautiful concept image that showed off what it looks like the game is going to be. And they're pretty much saying it's going to be a big game. It's not going to be attached to the other game that I'm going to get to. It is going to be a very big, ambitious, standalone game that's going to have a big narrative piece to it. And it is multiplayer, which is super exciting because PlayStation got no multiplayer games, James. I don't know if you heard that, but that's the big story, bro. So I'll bring you in here. James, give me your thoughts about what everything I just gave, the show and the multiplayer.
I'm just gonna skip right to the multiplayer because that's my bread and butter. I played the crap out of the multiplayer on PS3. I played the crap of the multiplayer from The Last of Us 1 on the PS4, and they remastered it. And the multiplayer was phenomenal. If you guys don't know, basically, Naughty Dog did an interesting take where I believe it was 4v4 or 5v5, and how it would work is that you got to choose a faction. You could either be like scavengers or you could be the Fireflies, and how it would work is if you would lose games, you basically had this camp, and as you lose or lost games, your camp would suffer, and you need to collect these cans supplies to help feed your camp. So as you kept winning, your camp would grow, and you could like win like the mini game, which is basically like there was days and years, and I forget how many years there were, but you could basically like win as the scavengers or win as the Fireflies, and if you collected enough resources after each match, people live and you would win. And it was a very interesting take, and it was just fun, man. They had like executions, they had taunts, they had a lot of customization, and I loved it, man. My fear is just that this new multiplayer will be handled similarly to Uncharted 4's multiplayer, because I was also a big fan. I don't mean to get off topic here, but Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3's multiplayer was great. I didn't really care for 4, so I'm just hoping they stay faithful to the original multiplayer from The Last of Us 1 and remastered. But I feel like, man, they're gonna do this. They're gonna make it a battle royale. I hope they don't just make it a battle royale and there's a mode that's like the classic stuff that I was talking about, where it's like 5v5 PvP. They had 2 modes. They had a safe cracking mode, and they had the PvP where it's like 5v5, just team deathmatch. So I hope they have those classic modes, and then they have the battle royale. But Jared, bro, you got Warzone, you got Fortnite, you got all these crazy battle royales. Last of Us is gonna want to get on that. Sony's gonna want to get on it. I know it's coming, but I hope that they at least give us options. And I'm also curious about is this is a standalone thing. So is this going to be free to play, or are people going to have like a discount? Say if you have The Last of Us Part 1 or The Last of Us 2, you're going to get a discount through that. So I'm very curious how that's going to work. And the HBO series, I'm really hyped for. I actually got told what Ashley Johnson's character is going to be. I can tell you after you want to know. It's very cool. It's not. It's not small roles. They're actually going to be integral to the story, so it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, man, it's really, really exciting.
The only thing I just want to add to it is for the multiplayer, you kind of gave the battle royale treatment. Screw that. I want to see that crap. We might see it. I mean, that's a very, very fair point. We probably will see something like that. I hope there are options. But when I saw that image, what I got from it was some type of co-op experience, or I want to hope it's something like that. And so I was hoping and thinking, what if it's more like The Division? I love The Division, and I would love to see more of a co-op based multiplayer game rather than it being a PvP based. But if they want to do PvP, that's right. That's a big thing, especially when we had like stuff like the factions and what we're used to. So I would love for them to do, if they can, like options, right? And if the main thing, if there had to be a main component to it, I would rather it be something like The Division, where I can go up with my squad of 4, you know, we get to customize our character, go into this crazy freaking world. Like, I want to see something like that with the gameplay of like kind of like Last of Us 2, and we're gonna get to the next one, but I would love to see something like that personally, and I hope that's the case. I don't know if you want to add anything in there, just in case.
Yeah, no, I think the only other thing to mention is that this is going to have its own story, and they're really treating it as its own separate project. And again, I'm not against Battle Royale. It's just that I hope that they give us options where it's just not Battle Royale only, because that's just not fair to the people that, you know, play the originals. And a co-op would be great. Co-op mode would be great, because they did co-op stuff in Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3. And I think they had some arena type thing in Uncharted 4. So it's something like that in The Last of Us 2. That would be not The Last of Us 2, The Last of Us multiplayer thing. That'd be really dope for sure.
All right, jumping into the last piece, which is going with The Last of Us theme here. The Last of Us 1, the official. They didn't even call it a remake. Again, they're not calling it remakes, but I just love to call stuff remake for whatever reason. But we'll call it The Last of Us Part 1. That's what they call it. That's the official name for it. And they did release it. They did confirm it. It's happening with an awesome trailer. They did a great job, because even James was not. He was kind of skeptical. But you know, it's a great trailer to show the difference between the remaster versus, you know, again for me, the remake. You can see the differences. At least I think we were able to definitely tell the differences. But they did a good job to show the differences, because they're definitely there. But September 9th, 2022 is dropping this year, which is a pretty crazy, because I think a lot of us weren't expecting this. I think, again, a lot of us were kind of hoping if there was going to be a big end of the year game for PlayStation, it was going to be God of War Ragnarok. Well, we're not going to get into that, but this is a nice surprise to see to come and drop this year. I'm extremely happy to see this drop as another game for PlayStation. For, again, PlayStation 5, I should be specific. And then in development for PC, which is another talking point if you want to even mention that. But that's pretty excited to see this coming to PC, but it is going to be ground up remade for PS5. And the one thing that they talked about was like a lot of gameplay stuff, a lot of the AIs that are changing. There's a lot of stuff that's definitely going to be brand new, even stuff that's not even in The Last of Us 2. They're putting a lot of work into the gameplay for this game. That was like the biggest thing here. So I'll toss over to you, James, with the question of, do you care about this? Is this something that you're gonna buy? It is $70, but because the internet right now is, you know, the internet's always on fire with these hot takes. And the biggest hot take right now is this is not worth $70. Why is this even dropping? So I'm curious, are you interested? Do you want to get this?
So I'm going to tell you right now, I am an absolute loser, and I love this series. I not only bought this game again, I got the collector's edition. So I spent I dropped 90 on this bad boy. So I did get it. I did it, bro.
Firefly one?
Yeah, no, the website, bro. These collector's editions and the websites that they're attached to suck. They absolutely suck. It gets so difficult to get these games nowadays. But I'll be honest with you, man. Like you said, like in the theater, I actually was like, does it really look that different? I don't know. And you're like, bro, you're like, come on, dude. It looks. I feel like what they should have did in the initial trailer was like have a side-to-side thing, so you could like very clearly see. But the way I look at this is like kind of similar to what Nintendo did with Xenoblade Chronicles Remastered. I forget what the official title was. But like Xenoblade Chronicles, it's a little different just because it went from the Wii, which wasn't even HD, jumping to the Switch, which is finally HD for the game. And then it took the style of Xenoblade 2. So it took all the art style from that game and put it in Xenoblade 1, which is exactly what's happening here, where The Last of Us 1 is now getting a recolor paint with everything from The Last of Us 2, with some added features like the AI and new gameplay. I don't know about new gameplay mechanics, but there are AI for sure and some other stuff as well. But yeah, it's basically a new coat of paint in The Last of Us 2 style. And the way they're doing it is, so this The Last of Us Part 1 and The Last of Us Part 2. And also, when this was rumored, I knew this was coming out. Like, I was so certain just because the HBO show was coming. I'm like, bro, this is perfect. This is so perfect because this is going to release for everybody that wants to try out this series, either going into the show or coming from the game to the show. It just makes sense. But for people that are like looking at these screenshots and are like, bro, I can't tell the difference between the original and the remake, or like if it even looks better, I do kind of get it occasionally. Like there's this one screenshot where like Ellie's in the car with Joel, and it shows the remake and PS3. I actually do kind of like the way the PS3 looks, but it's not that the remake looks bad. It's just that the PS3 version kind of looks stylized in a sense, just because it was.
I think it was the PS4 remaster version.
Oh, yeah.
There's like 3 versions of the game. So it was definitely the comparison to the remaster.
You're right.
So
you're right.
Sure,
it was the remaster version. And again, it's like, it's kind of stylized because it's the PS3 version, like up-res and with the PS4 technology. So it's what they had to work with. But now it's looking more and more realistic. So now maybe the stylized nature of it is going away and they're going for pure realism. So that's why I feel like it's kind of just a preference thing. Do you prefer realism or do you prefer the more stylized type deal? So it kind of goes down to that. The price, I understand where people are coming from with the price. I don't know. I'm a loser. I spent $90, so I can't really speak to that. But I do understand where people are coming from. Dropping $70 on a game that doesn't necessarily, like, it got a remaster like less than a decade ago. So the fact, I get where people are coming from. I understand.
I'll say this: you don't gotta buy it. For anybody watching, you don't gotta buy it. So I think it's definitely, if you want to play but you're not really thinking about spending that money for it, if you got the new PS Plus Extra, you're gonna get The Last of Us Remastered on your subscription. So like you already have that. If you're gonna get at least the extra tier, or if you got the premium tier, you already have access to the game if you just care for it. I think this is definitely something from one of the diehard fans who are just fans of the series, right? The people who definitely want to support, because I'm one of those people. I want to support it. I'm excited. The show is going to be super exciting. You know, I think also, like you said, right, this is a nice little drop to kind of help promote,
100%.
the show. When the show drops, people watch the show and like, what the hell is this? They must be living underneath the rock. I don't know how they're missing on this, but like they're going to watch that and be like, okay, what's the game about? And one thing that Neil Druckmann said too is like, it's been over a decade since the first game came out. So like there's a whole new generation of gamers who like missed this. And it's like, when you think about it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting old, because like I can't believe the fact that like it's been a decade
2011, bro.
That since
Something
it released.
like that. Yeah.
I know, it's crazy. When I think about it, I'm like, that's absolutely insane. So it's another fair point too, is like, this game isn't just for us. This game is going to be for the new gamers that are just, getting into PlayStation 5 and stuff like that. So that's the other big piece to it. So keep that in mind when you're out there bashing The Last of Us Remake Part 1 and you're like, oh,
it's 2013 my bad. So yeah, almost a decade.
Yeah, so about a decade. Yeah, it'll be a decade. When it releases, it'll have been a decade. Or I lied, this is coming this year, so take that back. Next year it'll be a decade. But all right, aside from that, that is pretty much, again, we didn't cover every little game. I probably missed a couple here and there, but for the most part, that is our Star Wars Game Fest mini cap. But we do have quickly just 2 more things to go over. It's not even anything crazy. The second story here real quickly is that we did possibly just get that we're going to be getting a Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, maybe teaser possibly coming. This is coming from the Final Fantasy VII official Twitter account. Let me read to you guys the tweet. The official tweet reads, "Join us next week for around 10 minutes to celebrate the 25 years of Final Fantasy VII. Co-stream the broadcast and share your reactions with hashtag Final Fantasy VII 25th. Please be excited." They said, please be excited. You don't say something like that without possibly getting people excited for Remake Part 2, anything. So they said, please be excited. And to add to that, they said, Tetsu Nomura added to the official tweet and said, "We will be streaming Final Fantasy VII 25th Anniversary Celebration. At only around 10 minutes long, it will be short and sweet, but we have packed in lots of information, so I hope everyone can look forward to the unveiling." He said unveiling. I don't know what the hell that means, but I'm telling you, please be excited. And unveiling makes me think they're going to show us a quick peek at Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, at least like a teaser. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, dude, they have
So, your thoughts. Tell me. Go ahead. James, go. Give me your
bro, it's been 2 years, right, since Part 1 released. Yeah. So it makes sense. I mean, they show Kingdom Hearts 4. So if they're showing Kingdom Hearts 4, bro, they're gonna show Final Fantasy VII Part 2. Like they have to. And I mean, I didn't even know it was the 25th anniversary, so it's very cool. Maybe there'll be some swag and stuff like that. Orchestra, I know. Square Enix likes to do stuff like that. But yeah, the DLC released earlier this year, and I guess they're ready to go. But they have to be, because it's been 2 years. So I don't think it's gonna come out next year. More than likely 2024, possibly 2025. That's the window.
I think this comes out. I think this comes out after Kingdom Hearts 4.
Really?
But that's a whole other
that is.
discussion.
That is.
That's a whole because Kingdom Hearts 3 came out before 7. Kingdom Hearts 3 came out 2019. 7 came out 2020, right? With the new systems were like launching and stuff like that. I think you can check it if you want, if I'm not stupid, but I'm pretty sure that it came out 2020 because I remember it was pandemic. It was like the first year of pandemic, and I was freaking out because I couldn't get my GameStops were closed, and the game came out, and I had to buy it again digital. I went through a whole thing, bro. It was crazy. But I remember sorts of information like that. But yeah, that's a whole topic for another day. But yeah, dude, this is exciting. 10 minutes. I do think we'll get a sneak peek. I personally, the way they have it, you know, like they're wording it, makes me feel like we're gonna get a sneak peek at Remake Part 2 for Final Fantasy 7. I think we'll get a sneak peek. I think they're also gonna show off some of the mobile games because they do have 2 mobile games that are pretty big. First Soldier is the one that's already out. And then they also have one that's supposed to be coming out, which is Ever Crisis, which is literally all of the Final Fantasy games, like before Crisis, Crisis Core, 7, Advent Children. Like they're doing everything. Every piece of Final Fantasy 7, either movie or video game that ever came out, they're making it onto this really big mobile game called Ever Crisis. That's also, I think, maybe coming to PC. Don't quote me on that, but at least mobile, I can tell you for sure. So I think we'll get all 3 of that. It's only 10 minutes. So this is why I'm saying it's going to be like maybe like a teaser, like a quick 2-second look at like, I don't know, something crazy. But I'm excited. You're obviously pretty excited too. So yeah, keep that in mind that this is next week. It's going to be next week. I love how I just didn't put the day at all. I think it's the 16th.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind. It is next week. Be on the lookout. Follow the official Final Fantasy 7 Twitter account. You'll definitely see it there. But I totally forgot to put the date. But I think it's the 16th. But it is next week. So just keep that in mind. And the last part is that the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase, just a friendly reminder that it is on Sunday, June 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific. Also remember that there's going to be an Xbox Game Showcase extended event on June 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific, where they're going to show new trailers, take deeper looks at the games and stuff that was announced at the main Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase, and speak to some of the game creators. It's going to be an all-new broadcast that's approximately 90 minutes in length. So Xbox, you know, they're doing 2 showcases, so good for them. To be fair, I think they need it because they need to show us what the hell they have in the pipeline, what's coming. So super exciting. I don't know about you. Are you excited for the Xbox showcase?
Of course, I'm more of a Sony guy, but I'm definitely excited to see.
Hey, my man. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm definitely excited to see what they're working on, just because it's just healthy for the games industry, for competitors to be doing well, like Nintendo and Xbox. Like for Sony just to be dominating. Not saying they are, but like say if one of the 3 were just completely dominating, it's just not good for gamers in general, because competition just breeds innovation. So I really hope Xbox like blows us away with this presentation. And since they have Bethesda, man, they could have some like really cool stuff like in the works. You know, the new Elder Scrolls.
Can they please show Starfield?
Yeah,
please?
that too,
like, that's the biggest thing. Can we please see Starfield for the love of God? That's my biggest thing. I just want to see Starfield and I'll be happy. I'm not upset that it got delayed. I know how big that game is gonna be. So just to add my 2 cents real quick, that's my biggest thing. I just want to see Starfield, and I would honestly be happy for the most part. Show me Starfield and I'll be good. But I know they have a crap ton of games that they're working on, and so I think they need to do their Xbox fans a little service and show off a lot of those games and give updates, because I think a lot of people want to see what's coming. So good on them. We're excited. Looks like they got 2 showcases, not just 1. So that's pretty exciting. All right. That is the last story bit, so we're gonna go ahead and before we end it, before you go, as always, keep an eye out for these games. A little special Summer Game Fest one where we're gonna just take some of the games that were from Summer Game Fest that had surprise reveals. I actually gave the dates as we talked about it, but as a reminder, Neon White for Switch and PC is dropping on June 16th, and then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. That is also June 16th. And that is it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Jared with Fight9 Direct, and again, we had James. You probably see more James. Just a little, you know, just keep an eye out here. You might see him a little more than lately. It's been like one person co-host with me, and then they're gone. They don't come back. It's someone different every week. You're probably gonna see more of James. Just keep that in mind. You know, it's a cool little dynamic that we have going on. James, thank you for hopping in. James, any last words before we sign out? You want to mention anything?
Sony, where's your event, bro? Where's your event? We just had State of Play, and it.
Bro, we got to stay to play. Oh, you looking for
God of War, bro? Look, we got a war. We got a war, bro. Come on,
Me too. I'm looking for it too, bro. I swear to God, we're gonna get it. I swear we're gonna get it. But save that for another day. And as always, thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.